Hi there, Mousketeers. Welcome to the Disneyland Beat, where our toes tap to a Disneyland drum.
And we always whistle while we work.
Disney's California Adventure opened in 2001 and struggled to find its audience at first, getting just a tiny fraction of the visitors Disneyland gets. But they continued to steadily expand and refurbish the adolescent theme park, helping it grow into one of the top 12 most visited theme parks in the world in 2019. And once DCA gets to fully open with Avengers Campus, it's sure to see additional growth.
But they had to do a lot of tweaking to it to get it to where it is today. And that amount of change has left a pretty large collection of defunct DCA attractions. We're going to check them all out, so we better get going.
Come on into the park with us as we visit the former lands of Disney California Adventure to check them all out.
Like, subscribe, and stick around.
Sunshine Plaza was one of the park's original 4 themed areas. Located at the entrance of the park, Sunshine Plaza was a collection of stores and food service locations. It included an abstract theme meant to evoke the feeling of stepping into a giant postcard. Outside the park's entrance gates were 3-dimensional sculptures of letters which spelled out California.
A replica of the Golden Gate Bridge served as a facade for the Disneyland monorail track. The south end of the plaza featured a large sun icon sculpture with a fountain beneath it. Thought that was a really cool fountain. It splashed water in a manner reminiscent of ocean waves.
Reflectors located around the plaza would reflect real sunlight into the sun icon, causing it to gleam in the daytime. The west side of the plaza included a gorgeous, non-functioning replica of the California Zephyr Railroad, which housed 2 food service locations.
In 2011, the Sunshine Plaza was closed, renovated, and completely remodeled as part of the park's major design and renovation. The California Zephyr locomotive was removed and donated to the Western Pacific Railroad Museum in Portola, California.
We really love the fact that Disney props and scenery always seem to have another life after they're used in the parks. The sun icon was donated to the city of Anaheim for future use. The California letters were donated to Friends of the California State Fair, a non-profit organization, and currently sits at the entrance to the Cal Expo Fairgrounds.
The area reopened in 2012 as the now beloved Buena Vista Street, a representation of Los Angeles in the 1930s, just as Walt Disney founded upon his arrival. The buildings that house Sunshine Plaza stores and restaurants, they still house stores and restaurants under the present theme, while the Sun Plaza is now the site of a replica of the Carthay Circle Theater, which houses the best restaurant in the park.
An infamous opening day ride in the Hollywood picture backlot is Superstar Limo. It was a dark ride in which the rider was treated like a new celebrity en route to his or her first movie premiere. The ride vehicles, which evoked limousines, took riders through a cartoonish version of Hollywood, passing by caricature versions of celebrities such as Regis Philbin, Drew Carey, and Whoopi Goldberg.
Superstar Limo closed after less than a year of operation due to low attendance, and it was the park's first attraction to permanently close. But it's funny. The ride was universally panned, but not too many people actually experienced it. It's been all over YouTube all these years, and as they say, any press is good press. And there are plenty of people, lots of people today in fact, who would love to take a spin on this classic lemon.
The ride building now houses Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue, which uses the same ride vehicles and track and even some of the same animatronics with new costumes.
Another opening day attraction that looks like it could have been lifted right out of the MGM studios in Orlando at the time was the ABC soap opera Bistro. It was a restaurant whose dining areas were replicas of the sets of Port Charles, All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital.
The employees would involve visitors in mock scenarios based on the plot of the respective series. The restaurant and its adjacent store closed due to unpopularity, and the entire building was converted into a theater, Playhouse Disney Live on Stage, which opened in 2003 with Disney Channel influenced content, and later it morphed into the Disney Junior Dance Party, which is in the space today.
For several years, there was a pseudo-filmed game show attraction, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Play It. It was an interactive version of the TV game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, except with points awarded instead of dollars. It included 10 players in the Ring of Fire seats with video screens and everything down on the stage, and the entire audience could play the fast finger qualifying game in which players had to put answers in a specific order based on the audience's votes. The show building, known as Stage 17, is now used for special events and currently shopping.
Muppet Vision 3D was a charming and popular 3D film attraction featuring the Muppets. We really miss this one and don't fully understand why it was removed in 2014, but it did have a good run with a lot of laughs. For years, the spot was used as a showcase spot for private previews of Disney films, but recently was made into the home of Mickey's PhilharMagic.
Inside the animation at the Hollywood backlot, there are a few attractions that have been lost over the years. Opening with the building was the animation screening room, one of the park's many theaters that initially just featured fairly typical film presentations. Initially, this space opened showing the direct-to-home sequel Back to Neverland, and then it moved on to showing One Man's Dream, a Walt Disney in the Parks documentary from 2002 to 2005. It's eventually replaced by Turtle Talk with Crush in 2005.
Also in the Animation Academy played The Art of Disney Animation, a live presentation about Disney animation that still plays at the Animation Courtyard in Orlando. This show was replaced by the Animation Academy, a fun show where you learn to draw Disney characters. And the Sorcerer's Workshop had another chamber, Ursula's Grotto.
From 2004 to 2017, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, inspired by Rod Serling's anthology television series, was a fan favorite in the backlot. DCA'S version of the classic attraction took place at the fictional Hollywood Tower Hotel. It was similar to the ride at Hollywood Studios in Orlando, but it had its own flair. It closed in January of 2017 and it was transformed into the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
We aren't going to discuss all the shows of every theater in this video, but the Hyperion Theater is a major attraction and has only had a handful of shows. The theater opened with a review show called Disney Steps in Time. And it was reportedly very good, but we are glad they stepped it up conceptually. In 2001, they ran The Power of Blast, an adaptation of the musical Blast, which was a really cool modern music and dance event. From 2003 to 2016, the Hyperion was home to the highly popular and often missed Disney's Aladdin, a musical spectacular, a musical show based on the 1992 Disney animated film. Every show, the genie would win over the audience. Finally, in 2016 to 2020, Frozen, live at the Hyperion, delighted audience at the theater, closing recently during the pandemic.
The Bountiful Valley Farm section, it featured a water play area and educational exhibits about agriculture in California. It was sponsored by Caterpillar Incorporated from its opening until 2006, and during their sponsorship of the area, it also featured large Caterpillar machinery.
It was originally part of the Golden State area and worked together as part of a Bugs Land when Flick's Fun Fair opened in 2002. For those who only came to DCA after 2010, you might wonder why the huge garden hose and sprinklers were in a Bugs Land, but they made more sense when they were part of the farm. It's now the site of Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, part of Cars Land.
Flick's Fun Fair in a Bugs Land included 4 smaller flat rides that altogether made for a really fun experience. Flick's Flyers was a fun suspended spinner that was really well themed. It has been reskinned as the Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind and is still in use at the park.
Francis's Ladybug Boogie was a figure-8 spinner themed to the Macho Ladybug. Tuck and Roll's Buggies were a cute bumper car ride, and finally Heimlich's Choo Choo Train took visitors on a spin around a lovely garden full of sweets for Heimlich to snack on.
A Bugs Land also included the opening day attraction It's Tough to Be a Bug, the 9-minute-long 3D film based on a bug's life using theater lighting, 3D films, and animatronics and special effects. It's really awesome. And as we all probably know, this space is now going to be used for the upcoming Avengers Campus and Web Slingers attraction.
Golden State was one of the park's original 4 themed lands. The sprawling area was divided into 6 sub-areas which were themed around several aspects of California and its history. Its aviation history, Condor Flats, its national parks, Grizzly Peak Recreational Area, its agricultural industry, Bountiful Valley Farm, its wine industry, Golden Vine Winery, San Francisco, the Bay Area, and Monterey's Cannery Row, Pacific Wharf.
You can still walk through the entrance of the opening day attraction Golden Dreams as you step into the show building to board your clamshell on Ariel's Undersea Adventure. Golden Dreams was a film presentation hosted by Whoopi Goldberg about the history of the state of California. The film was a good one, but guests wanted more rideable attractions at DCA, and in 2008, it closed.
Another film just around the corner at the Golden Vine Winery was Seasons of the Vine, a film presentation which took visitors through the journey of wine production in California. It closed due to low attendance and is now the site of Walt Disney Imagineering Blue Sky Cellar, which is listed as being part of the Pacific Wharf area on current park maps, which we would say is characterizing things loosely.
At the Pacific Wharf today, you can go to the Ghirardelli ice cream and soda fountain and get yourself some free chocolate. But before 2011, it used to be the Mission Tortilla Company, complete with a behind-the-scenes tour and yummy tortilla samples.
Over to Grizzly Peak, which used to be called Condor Flats and had a slightly more desert style to it, was Soarin' Over California, the much-loved flight simulator ride. This original version of the ride closed in 2016 to become Soarin' Around the World, but already the Disneyland locals have let their love for the original version shine, and Disney has started to bring it back for special events.
Cars Land opened in June 2012 and it's been a huge hit ever since, really transformed the park, but it did have an opening day ride that was inspired by an old Disneyland attraction that never really quite operated right when they tried it the first time.
Luigi's Flying Tires was essentially a much larger version of the Disneyland attraction, the Flying Saucers from the 1960s. Guests rode on tire-shaped bumper car vehicles which floated on a cushion of air similar to an air hockey table.
The ride ran for 3 years, but it was a bit of a lackluster attraction, just like the first one, and it closed to make room for Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters that used the exact same footprint for a trackless vehicle attraction.
Originally, this land had a modern theme meant to look like the Santa Monica Pier amusement park, complete with Route 66 ending at it. Later, before it became today's Pixar Pier, it was rethemed to have a more 1920s Victorian seaside resort look and feel.
A ride from the original modern Ocean Pier theming was the Maliboomer. This space yacht ride launched riders 180 feet into the air in 4 seconds. It was quite the thrill. It was criticized for being an off-the-shelf ride, and in 2010, it was demolished. Its former site is now part of the Pixar Pier, and it hosts the Inside Out themed spinner.
The SS Rustworthy was an outdoor play area themed to a run-down fireboat with surfboards, which was located in the Route 66 section of Paradise Pier. It was right next to where the Silly Symphony swings are today, and it closed in 2010.
The huge Ferris wheel at Pixar Pier has always been there since the park opened, but originally it had a giant sun on it, and it was called the Sun Wheel. Did you know that giant Ferris wheels with swinging and stationary cars go back to the turn of the century in Europe and the 1920s at Coney Island? The wheel became Mickey's Fun Wheel in 2009, and then the Pixar Pal Around in 2018.
For the first 9 years of the park, the Silly Symphony swings were called the Orange Stinger, and the ride was placed inside a giant orange peel. It looked way cooler from the outside rather than while on the ride. We think the ride experience improved when it reopened as Silly Symphony Swings in 2010.
The original theme for the Wild Mouse roller coaster Goofy's Sky School was Mulholland Madness. Goofy is fun and much more Disney and all, but if you've ever driven Mulholland Drive, you know this ride was aptly named. The ride experience is still pretty much the same today.
Before it was the Incredicoaster, it was California Screamin', the first and only really high-speed roller coaster at the Disneyland Resort. The Incredibles overlay is really fun and hasn't really changed the experience that much, just adding to it. But California Screamin' did have Neil Patrick Harris voicing the countdown to the launch, and we kind of miss that.
The final defunct ride of Disney California Adventure on our list is King Triton's Carousel of the Sea. This cute, smaller carousel featured the underwater creatures seen in The Little Mermaid and was surrounded by pretty Victorian fan fountains. It closed in 2018 and reopened as Jesse's Critter Carousel to fit in with the Pixar Pier theming.
Well, Mousketeers, as you can see, for a younger Disney theme park just hitting 20 years old this year, Disney California Adventure has undergone some pretty dramatic changes in its attractions and offerings.
We hope you enjoyed this look at the defunct attractions of DCA.
See you real soon, Mousketeers.
See you real soon.